Okay, so I'm very happy with that setup, the throttle setup. It's working really good. I think the next thing I'm going to work on, if you take a look down the line here, the sprocket and the clutch sprocket, they aren't fully aligned. And to try and get it to line up, I would need to slide the engine more to the right. And as it is now, I'll show you, it's already sticking out of the right side. So I can swap the clutch around and have it on the inside. That should allow me to try and bring the engine back more centered to keep the bike balanced better. So that's what I'm going to work on next. All right, so I turned the clutch around, which is okay to do, but the shaft on this mower is pretty short. You can see it's short by maybe 1/4 of an inch. And so my concern is that the key, which is in there, while it slides all the way in, I'm concerned that if I don't have something blocking off this area here, the key could back out enough where, it's not making full contact with the keyway and potentially could shear. And so I'm going to try and cut a spacer that I can put in this hole the same size as the shaft, and then when it's in there, it should block the key from backing out. That's what I'm going to work on here. All right, so what I have here is just some electrical conduit. I think it's a 3/4 inch size, and it actually fits in there just nicely, enough that it'll keep the key from sliding out, because the key is actually, it's thicker than this particular keyway. It fits into here and the shaft at the same time. So once this is in place, then it'll keep that key from backing out. So I just need to cut a piece that's going to fit in there. So I'm going to cut it, actually I'm going to cut it a little bit short, just because I don't want to have it sticking out more and have the washer that I'm using to hold this in place press against it versus the clutch. I want this to be flush against the clutch. All right, so this is the piece that I cut out of the conduit. Not the prettiest, but I could probably clean it up a little bit. So when it fits in there, it fits just under flush, which is kind of what I want. And it's just enough to keep the key from sliding back out. So you could use washers, just a bunch of washers stacked up maybe. You'd have to have a hole in the middle for this, but this is what I have on hand. So now when I tighten this in place, I'm confident that it should keep that key from backing out. So now that I've got it flipped around, I'm going to move the engine to line up the chain and hopefully get the chain installed. So now that I've got the engine loose, I'm going to try and line up the chain. I'm just going to use the old chain for now, just because I don't want to use the new chain until I have it, exactly where I need it. Hopefully it'll be long enough with this new setup. We'll see. So for the Master Link, it has a keeper up top that keeps the link together in place, and it's got a groove here. And so this pops off of this end here. So I'm going to use a screwdriver here to try and press against just the top. See, the keeper is separate from the chain. So I'm just going to try and pop this guy off on camera, hopefully. I don't know if you saw that, but this pops off, and so then now this piece comes off here. And so this is how you put the master chain on, or master link on. There we go. That's what it is. So I just connected it off of the sprocket and then walked it onto the sprocket. So now I can use the chain, adjust the chain tensioner here. There it is. Alright, so I picked up a new air filter for the engine. So I'm going to try and mount this thing. Alright. I think we're going to maybe throw the seat on it for now. Missed that first start, but it ran okay. I'm just going to zip tie this in place just to keep it out of the way. All right, let's see. Definitely has a lot more torque. Came off the chain though, so maybe it's not lined up perfectly straight. So we will see what we got going on here. I will say that this thing's got a lot more torque than the other engine. Works great so far though. I guess the question is going to be if it's going to be too much torque for my kid. I hope you're enjoying this series. It's a fun project. If you like this kind of stuff, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much. I say that's a success. Just burn off the muffler a little bit, but it's been pretty good. I gotta work on a kickstand for this thing.